$47,000. That's what my grandmother's death cost me. Not grief. Grief was free. Medical bills that became mine when she died without a will. At 26, with a barista job paying $14 an hour, I was drowning. The eviction notice gave me 45 days. Then the email arrived at 2:47 a.m. Transit restoration specialist, $12,000 per week, 2 weeks minimum, start immediately. $24,000, enough to survive. The red flags were obvious. Portland, Maine never had a subway, no company name listed. Contract arrived via encrypted email with 24-hour acceptance window and a bolded line, do not discuss employment with anyone. I signed it at 3:17 a.m. without reading past page 2. The entrance was hidden behind a boarded-up store on Congress Street. My key card unlocked a door I'd never noticed. Inside, stairs going down. 5 flights into darkness that smelled like mineral and stone and something profoundly wrong. At the bottom, an impossible Art Deco subway. Station from the 1920s. Perfect tiles, gleaming brass, lights humming with power despite being abandoned for a century. My quarters were a converted ticket booth. On the pillow, a thick rule book. Transit Maintenance Protocol, revised 2025, 89th edition. 89 editions for a subway that never existed. The rules. Rule 1, the last train. A train will arrive at platform 3 at exactly 3:33 a.m. every night. Do not board this train under any circumstances. Do not make eye contact with passengers. Do not respond if they call your name. Rule 2, the incomplete tile. North Tunnel, 47 feet from platform 1. One tile depicts a woman's face with no eyes. Photograph it daily. If eyes appear, evacuate to quarters immediately. Rule 3, track maintenance. Personal belongings will appear on tracks. Collect all items and place in lost and found cabinet. Never open cabinet after placing items inside. Final note in red ink. Early departure forfeits all compensation and may not be possible. I laughed, weird corporate theater, but $12,000 a week buys tolerance. I had no idea how wrong I was. At 3:33 a.m. I heard it, rumbling from the tunnel. The train that emerged was a 1920s model, perfectly maintained, lit with warm incandescent bulbs. Through the windows, passengers in period clothing, a man reading a newspaper dated August 14, 1926, an elderly woman knitting. Then the woman in seat 7 looked at me. Burgundy dress, pearl earrings, and around her neck my breath caught a jade necklace. The necklace my grandmother had been buried in 6 months ago. Her lips moved, help me, please help me. At 3:37 a.m. the train departed. I inspected the platform as required. Wet footprints led from where the doors had been, then stopped. The water was ice cold and smelled like ocean salt. We were 200 feet underground. I photographed the necklace, zoomed in. Inscription barely visible. To Dorothy, love forever, Robert, 1924. My grandmother's name was Dorothy, but she wasn't born until 1943. This had to be coincidence. I didn't sleep. The next morning, I photographed the eyeless tile as required. By day 3, the woman's expression had changed. She was smiling, not in the photo, in person. By day 4, I could count her teeth, 34 visible. Humans have 32. Her head had tilted, tracking my route through the tunnel. The eyes were still hollow, empty sockets that seemed to deepen, becoming less like missing details and more like tunnels boring into something behind the wall. Day 5:02 p.m., routine tunnel inspection. I heard voices, female, young, familiar. "Oh my God, Sarah, you're being paranoid." My heart stopped. That was Jamie from college. Jamie, who'd been dead for 7 years. Then I heard my own voice. "I'm serious, Jamie. This is like a felony amount." This conversation had happened, October 2019, off-campus party. I'd left her there because I was angry. I got the call at 3:33 a.m. Jamie overdosed while I was asleep. I'd never told anyone. She'd asked me to stay, and I'd said no. A new voice, deeper, everywhere. "She called your name. You didn't answer, just like the train passengers." My own voice behind me. "I should have stayed. Why didn't I stay?" I ran, made it to my quarters with seconds to spare. For several minutes, my voice outside. "You can't hide from yourself, Sarah." Then silence. Day 6:11:00 p.m. track inspection. A child's sneaker on the tracks, light up sole, battery dead, late 1990s style. I knew this shoe. August 14, 1998, Portland Waterfront Festival. I was 8. My little brother Marcus was 6, so proud of his new light-up sneakers. My parents argued about directions. Marcus said, "I'm gonna go look at the boats." I was supposed to watch him, but there was a street performer and I wanted to watch, and Marcus was always fine. He'd be fine for 2 minutes. When I looked back, Marcus was gone. They searched for weeks, dragged the harbor. Marcus Chen, age 6, was never found. And now his shoe was here, 27 years later. Protocol required me to place it in lost and found. I opened the brass cabinet. It wasn't a cabinet, it was a room extending impossibly far. The nearest tag read, Dorothy Murphy, jade necklace 8/14/1926 3:33 a.m., platform 3, boarded northbound. My grandmother's name, the date from the train newspaper. I moved deeper, reading tags. All times 3:33 a.m., all destinations, northbound, dates from 1926 to yesterday. Then I found row 47, shelf 12. Marcus Chen light-up sneakers, pair, 8/14/1998 3:33 a.m., platform 3, boarded northbound. Both shoes, the waterfront mud still wet after 27 years. Marcus had been here. My 6-year-old brother boarded a train that shouldn't exist. I found employment logs in a small office, names, dates, brief notes. Then employee 88, Marcus Chen. Hired 8/14/1998, departed 8/28/1998. My 6-year-old brother, listed as an employee. What if being here was the contract? Day 8:3:00 a.m., I couldn't sleep. Passing the northbound passage, I saw it, the massive brass padlock hanging open, the door ajar. I used the emergency phone, dead silence. Marcus's name in the logbook, his shoes in lost and found. Departed via standard egress 3:33 a.m. This passage led somewhere, maybe to answers. I stepped inside. The first 100 feet looked normal, then things changed. Victorian brick replaced Art Deco tile, then hand-cut stone, then carved bedrock covered in symbols that hurt to look at. Beyond 400 feet, physics broke. The floor sloped down but felt level. My watch spun backward, then forward, then stopped. The tunnel opened into a vast cavern, football field sized, with an Art Deco platform pasted over ancient rock. The platform dropped into darkness, no tracks, just empty air descending into nothing. Standing on the platform, hundreds of people, completely still, frozen mid-motion. Dorothy Murphy in her burgundy dress. Jamie in her 9-inch nails shirt. And in the front row, Marcus, still 6 years old, still wearing one light-up sneaker. He turned to look at me. His eyes were hollow, empty sockets. When he spoke, his voice was exactly as I remembered, but the words came from somewhere else. "You're early, Sarah. The train doesn't come for you until tonight." "Marcus," my voice cracked. "I'm what's left. We're all what's left." He tilted his head unnaturally. "Did you like finding my shoes? I left them for you. 27 years is a long time to wait, but it needed to be perfect. You needed to be desperate enough." "I don't understand." "You think your life fell apart by accident, the medical debt, the eviction notice timed with the job posting, every rejection, every failure. We watered those seeds for 27 years. "The station feeds," Marcus continued, "on consciousness, on guilt. Everyone here came seeking something, money, answers, redemption. We provide the setup, you provide the desperation, then we eat. Tonight at 3:33 a.m. you'll board the train. You'll take your place in seat 7, and in 27 years we'll cultivate someone who loved you. The cycle continues. Time is a circle here." "No," I backed away. "I'm leaving." "There are no stairs anymore. The station is a loop. You've been part of it since you arrived. Every rule you followed integrated you deeper. Every photograph, every log entry, consent. You gave yourself to us piece by piece." All the passengers turned to face me in perfect synchronization. "The contract wasn't the trap," Dorothy Murphy said. "The work was the trap." I ran. At 3:00 a.m. on day 14, my door unlocked. At 3:15 a.m. the emergency phone rang. I answered. My own voice: "Pick up the shoe, walk to the platform, wait for the train. This is what you..." Signed, "This is what you are now." I hung up, but the compulsion was undeniable, something growing inside me for 2 weeks, fed by every rule followed. At 3:25 a.m., my feet carried me to platform 3. Passengers materialized around me. Dorothy, Jamie, Marcus at the front. At 3:30 a.m. I heard the train. Not wheels on tracks, something older, something that wore the shape of a train because human minds needed familiar frameworks for the impossible. The train emerged, a 1920s subway car shell, but between the cars I could see what it really was. Darkness that moved with intention, organic shadows, something massive wearing a costume. At 3:33 a.m. exactly, the doors opened. My feet moved forward, 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Inside, seat 7 waited. Dorothy patted the bench. "We've been expecting you since 1998. Marcus held out his hand. "Come on, Sarah, isn't this what you wanted, to know what happened?" My right foot lifted, moved forward, about to step aboard. And I remembered. Rule 1, do not board this train under any circumstances. The only rule I hadn't broken. The only rule designed to protect me instead of prepare me. Everything else had been integration, training me to obey, but I'd never practiced boarding. My foot hung in the air. The compulsion warred with the one piece of programming that said no. Marcus's face twisted. "You have to board, the contract specifies, you signed." "I never read past page 2, I said, voice shaking. I didn't consent. You came desperate, you came guilty, you came exactly as we designed, the work was the contract. At 3:36 a.m., 1 minute before departure, I stepped backward. And again, and again. The passengers' expressions changed to hunger. We've been waiting 27 years. At 3:37 a.m., the doors closed. Marcus lunged, reaching for me. The doors severed his arm. It dissolved into smoke. The train screamed away into darkness. The platform was silent. Then footsteps behind me. The tile woman stood there, three-dimensional, real. Clever, but you're still here. You didn't board, but you didn't leave. Tomorrow night the train comes again. 4 more days on your contract, 4 more chances. By day 14, you won't be able to refuse. She walked toward me. Every day you stay, you become more station, less Sarah. I ran to my quarters. Through the window reflection, hundreds of passengers stood on the platform, staring. All waiting. Days 11-13 blurred together, terror and exhaustion. Each night the train arrived, each night the doors opened, each night the compulsion grew stronger. By day 13 my fingers were numb, cold, my eyes seemed darker in the mirror. Day 14 began at midnight. At 3:33 a.m. the doors opened for the last time. At 3:34 a.m. my foot crossed the threshold. At 3:34 a.m. and 15 seconds I sat in seat 7. At 3:34 a.m. and 30 seconds something cold spread through me, Sarah Chen dissolving, becoming echo, becoming permanent. Installation. At 3:37 a.m. the train departed into darkness deeper than the station, older than the city, hungry as it had always been. 2 weeks later at 2:47 a.m., Myra Johnson received an email. Transit restoration specialist, $12,000 per week. She was 24, $53,000 in debt, 3 months behind on rent. She signed at 3:17 a.m. The key card arrived the next morning. And in Platform 3, Seat 7, a young woman in modern clothes wore a jade necklace. When the train passed through at 3:33 a.m. each night, she pressed her face to the window. Help me, please help me. Sarah Chen had completed her integration. The station had fed well. And somewhere in the deep tunnels, Marcus smiled and waited for the next employee. The cycle was eternal. There were always more desperate people who would sign a contract without reading it. Always more food. Always more permanent installations in the collection growing since 1926. Rule 1 had been clear, do not board this train. But by day 14, you weren't following rules. You were fulfilling a contract written in something older than words. You were going home. The next time you see a job posting that seems too good to be true, read the contract, read all of it, because some debts can't be paid with money, some contracts can't be broken, and some stations never let you leave.